Please like and subscribe for more content. Communism is a far-left, philosophical, social, political, and economic ideology and movement whose goal is the establishment of a communist society, namely a socio-economic order based on the idea of common ownership of the means of production, distribution, and exchange, allocating products to everyone in the society. It can involve the absence of social classes, money, and the state. Communism, while sometimes used as a synonym of socialism, is mainly a specific, yet distinct, form of socialism. Communists often seek a voluntary state of self-governance but disagree on the means to this end. This reflects a distinction between a more libertarian approach of communization, revolutionary spontaneity, and workers' self-management, and a more vanguardist or Communist Party-driven approach through the development of a constitutional socialist state followed by Friedrich Engels' withering away of the state. Variants of communism have been developed throughout history, including anarcho-communism and Marxist schools of thought, among others. Communism includes a variety of schools of thought which broadly include Marxism, Leninism, and libertarian communism as well as the political ideologies grouped around both. All of these different ideologies share the analysis that the current order of society stems from capitalism, its economic system, and its mode of production, namely that in this system there are two major social classes, the relationship between these two classes is exploitative, and that this situation can only ultimately be resolved through a social revolution. The two classes are the proletariat, the working class, who make up the majority of the population within society and must work to survive, and the bourgeoisie, the capitalist class, a small minority who derives profit from employing the working class through private ownership of the means of production. According to this analysis, revolution would put the working class in power and in turn, establish common ownership of property, which is the primary element in the transformation of society towards a communist mode of production. In the 20th century, ostensibly communist governments espousing Marxism-Leninism and its variants came into power in parts of the world, first in the Soviet Union with the Russian Revolution of 1917, and then in portions of Eastern Europe, Asia, and a few other regions after World War II. Along with social democracy, communism became the dominant political tendency within the international socialist movement by the early 1920s. During most of the 20th century, around one-third of the world's population lived under communist governments. These governments were characterized by one-party rule and suppression of opposition and dissent. With the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, several communist governments repudiated or abolished communism altogether. Afterwards, only a small number of communist governments remained, namely China, Cuba, Laos, and Vietnam. While the emergence of the Soviet Union as the world's first nominally communist state led to communism's widespread association with the Soviet economic model, several scholars posit that in practice, the model functioned as a form of state capitalism. This video is being paused for a quick second. Please like and subscribe for more content by your favorite robot voice, me. Let's return to the video. Public memory of 20th century communist states has been described as a battleground between the communist sympathetic political left and the anti-communist political right. Many authors have written about excess deaths under communist states and mortality rates, such as excess mortality in the Soviet Union under Joseph Stalin. Communist political thought and theory are diverse but share several core elements. The dominant forms of communism are based on Marxism or Leninism, but non-Marxist versions of communism, such as anarcho-communism and Christian communism, which remain partly influenced by Marxist theories and libertarian and humanist Marxism in particular, also exist. Common elements include being theoretical rather than ideological, identifying political parties not by ideology but by class and economic interest, and share and identify with the proletariat. According to communists, the proletariat can avoid mass unemployment only if capitalism is overthrown. In the short run, state-oriented communists favor state ownership of the commanding heights of the economy as a means to defend the proletariat from capitalist pressure. Some communists are distinguished by other Marxists in seeing peasants and smallholders of property as possible allies in their goal of shortening the abolition of capitalism. Criticism of communism can be divided into two broad categories, namely that which concerns itself with the practical aspects of 20th century communist states and that which concerns itself with communist principles and theory. Public memory of 20th century communist states has been described as a battleground between the political left and political right. Critics of communism on the political right point to the excess deaths under communist states as an indictment of communism as an ideology. Defenders of communism on the political left claim that the deaths were caused by specific authoritarian regimes and not communism as an ideology, while also pointing to mass deaths in wars that they claim were caused by capitalism and anti-communism as a counterpoint to the deaths under communist states. If you like this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thanks. Smile.